The 3 Mile Island Disaster: Conflict and Compromise between the United States and the Nuclear Energy Industry.
Good evening. The world has never known a day quite like today. It faced the considerable uncertainties and dangers of the worst nuclear power plant accident of the atomic age. And the horror tonight is that it could get much worse.
On March 28, 1979, the 3 Mile Island nuclear power plant malfunctioned. Due to mechanical design failure and personal errors, the pump in the number 2 reactor melted. The nation was left terrified of nuclear power and compromised its dedication to nuclear energy for decades to come. As such, public support for nuclear energy fell from an all-time high of 69% in 1977 to 46% in 1979. People started protesting against nuclear energy. The number of campaigns dramatically rose in 1979 because of the accident. Many people were and still are concerned about long-term health impacts from potential disasters, and nuclear energy still struggles to this day to be seen as a source of competitive energy. Many people were scared of the amount of radiation released and were worried of health effects that could have happened.
Late today in Washington, the NRC said, quote, "There's a hell of a lot of radiation in the reactor building," adding that radiation had penetrated the 4-foot-thick walls of that building and was detected as far as 1 mile away. Officials of Metropolitan Edison conceded some workers may have been contaminated, but they insisted this was not a serious accident. They said only 1/10 the amount of radiation needed for a general alarm escaped.
The Nuclear Regulatory Commission said that the amount of radiation released was 1 millirem more than the amount in an X-ray, which is 6 millirem. Even though the public was evacuated from the area, there was not enough radiation released to hurt any of the 2 million people around TMI at the time. Many environmental and health tests were done to see if the people were affected by the radiation. The Pennsylvania Department of Health followed the health of the 30,000 people who lived within 5 miles of 3 Mile Island. They did this for 18 years until there was no evidence of unusual health effects. Although there was no concern about health issues, there was concern about radioactive iodine that could potentially show up in cow's milk within a week or two of the accident. The reactor was shut down after the accident. It took 12 years and $973 million to decontaminate the low levels of radiation. There were 10.6 megaliters, or 2,800,224 U.S. gallons, of radioactive coolant that was evaporated. There were also about 100 tons of damaged radioactive fuel that was put into 342 canisters and taken to the U.S. Department of Energy facility in Richland, Washington. This accident had caused the Nuclear Regulatory Commission to watch more carefully on future nuclear power plants in the U.S. Because of this, there would be no nuclear power plants created or approved in the U.S. for 30 years as there was more natural gas plants being built. Since the day of the accident, nuclear energy's competitive edge has been lost to other energy resources, even though it is still a reliable energy resource. As of August 2017, there are 61 commercial nuclear power plants with 99 reactors running in the U.S. The power plant, coming up to its 39th anniversary of the accident in 2018, is set to be closing in 2019.
The announcement comes after more than 5 years of losses on the single-unit power plant, as well as its failure in a recent capacity auction to sell power into the regional grid.
Nuclear energy has been losing to the boom of natural gas sources, which has slashed energy prices in markets around the U.S. It has brought attention to the U.S. as it left many people terrified of nuclear power and its compromise to its dedication to nuclear energy for decades to come. The impact of the 3 Mile Island accident on the nuclear power industry since 1979 to today has risen to a level that no other nuclear disaster has. In the end, the 3 Mile Island disaster was one of the most serious conflicts in U.S. commercial nuclear power plant history.